No, the mayor is happy, but
I've been told to remind everyone to speak up and clearly so that we can hear better on the microphone.
as you get older, you don't need it.
Yeah, ideal. You're good. You're good.
You know, because the burial
I put it on this thing and then I realized that it's not actually level. Maybe I should do this. It'd be really nice to just have the owl.
I did get
I'll aim for that.
when you get to my age, you gotta worry about Irma. Which is like, not very much. I'm not gonna complain, because it's better than nothing. Hi, Steph. Hello, how are you? Good, how are you?
Happy I have an inside job today. Hotter than
I was in the basement most of the day today. I can make it down. Sometimes without, depending on how I feel.
You're fine. I got plenty of room.
Because I know if I fall, no one's gonna call. Someone's gonna laugh at me.
Life alert.
Yeah, I thought about that, you know, it's like, okay.
When I stepped outside, I was like, I look like a crazy man. One day last week, Kim and I talked to Cody and asked him if he could fix the thermostat. We kept adjusting it so it wouldn't be as cold and it would go back. So he called and had somebody come do it, and
I saw the Siler's invoice.
Yep.
They came in.
yep. Cause no matter what we did, it was 73 in here. And sometimes it was actually colder than that. I mean, we were both cold all the time.
I know it won't go up any further. And I'm so short. I'm short too. And I feel like I got my chin on the table half the time.
Yeah, well, that's part of what I got on the table.
Your helmet's flashing.
Thanks. Who's coming in?
I brought my pillow for my rear today. Are we gonna be here that long?
Did you see the itinerary?
These chairs, right? These chairs are not
I
very
don't think
comfortable.
that was the question. I said that to you. I'm just doing the 5 minute and she'll be, I'll be there for a few minutes and leave. I just have a few pictures I need to take.
But you know what? That would be good.
That, it's good for business.
That it is.
I need something to find.
Even if I
Yeah.
had something to put my back on, that would help some progress.
Everybody needs to sign in on the sheet if you would, please, so that we know who all is here. Yeah, for sure.
Somebody can check that right now.
Just bring in a couple chairs out.
I'll tell you, there's one thing I really, really appreciate. That is this.
Be everything. Oh, no, you can isolate
I mean, this thing, this synopsis, basically.
A little bit.
Cause I
I
can
don't know.
read
They
through
just kind of
that.
had their own thoughts, and when I told them politely out loud that the table was too big. And that letting someone into a movie by selling tickets for a movie is not going to replace theirs. It never will.
Oh,
They've been told that for years. People, like, they're always writing on their Facebook page. People are commenting on that. Why don't you have volunteers? They always have some excuse to do like, how does Kofi do it? How does Grocery City do it? How does Clearing do it?
Yeah.
And they won't listen.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All volunteers.
I don't think it's anybody paid was.
I don't know if, yeah, I don't know if there's a manager there that
Might be
works
one
it.
manager,
Yeah.
but like nobody, it's all crazy.
Hi, White. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Make sure you sign in. I mean, we're lucky to have.
Hello,
Hi.
how are you?
How about
This is
you?
Tammy. Hi, Tammy Kim Plain.
Nice
to meet you. Yes, I look at your house from the golf course side, but don't have a chance to look at. So, I do have an update for the
Yeah,
street
because
signs. I do have an update for the street signs.
Okay.
But not so much for the
They don't
street
have the same
lights.
buy-in.
Okay,
and
when,
people are like making suggestions.
what's her name was here?
And after a while,
She
you're like,
said a long time
yeah,
ago.
well, they're on
ordered.
They are, they're here.
how
Let's
how does
hear.
that even get done?
I think asked about it, they're like, we have this,
and then they got resistance
oh,
because
this
the
group,
manager
this
has.
electric group called Copay, okay? And we work cooperatively with different, like husband and whatever, right? And Clint had said it's kind of like
Well, they're
up to
always
their
talking
schedule.
about it.
But anyway, so that, it'll be talked about today. If you wanna say anything in the beginning of the
And if they
meeting,
can't do new roads,
we are gonna talk
and I
about it.
said, you know,
Yeah,
go to
yeah.
businesses and find out, sometimes you find matching funds, sometimes you find grants, you know, like, I will do electrical, double the money. If you're a customer,
Stuff that again, I think is set up, and some of the stuff, you know, you can buy your tickets online. There's no way that's free. It's gotta be cost tickets where you like to buy online, and like the late show, they do the late show.
and I said, you need to cut that, I'm sure.
And then they could move, like the start time is 6:30, they
started
could move
fast.
to 7. Cause, you know, I'm like, actually last night we got home and we got to town about 6. Back, we were gone and we saw the meeting, and thought it would be fun to go see that. We didn't have time to get ready, but if it had been 7, we probably would have.
Right, right, that's how, well, here it was 7:30, we just moved it back to 7, but you know, we've done a lot. I mean, you think so? Okay, cause I was there and I said to the one listening, I said, just me, these decisions are more. My comment was the staff at night report and that time they were on the floor and they're like, okay.
It's always that.
I don't think there is either.
I mean, it was all of us.
Even the shape of like the way the floor comes up, is something better, cause they have more
A
of a
flat.
flat, and then it goes up.
Yeah.
It doesn't get down too far, you can't sit.
Yeah.
Lake City is, has the cover that, and I don't think it's, the times I've sat down, it's too flat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never full.
And their concession prices are so high. I mean, sometimes you're like, no, the only thing you're saving is save a little bit on the ticket, but like, you know.
All right, we're gonna get this meeting started. We have had a request that we speak up and try to speak clearly. The, sound on the audio for, the recorded meeting doesn't come off very good, so if everybody could speak up a little bit, it'd be nice. Call the meeting to order. Approve the agenda.
So moved.
Brian? Second?
I'll second.
Kim? Citizens' opportunity to address the council. This is, all in favor, sorry, I do it every time.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Citizens' opportunity to address, is there, are you on the,
No, I'm here to just address in the 5-minute thing.
okay, perfect. Cindy Murphy is here.
Can pictures around just to show you guys what I'm gonna be talking about. Back in April, These pictures show on the city property at the corner of Highway 4 and 4th Avenue, where it was dug up to have sewer lines put in, but never filled in. So it's been sitting like this since April. And so whose responsibility is that to fill that in before a lawsuit happens and someone falling in or something too? So there's 3 pictures there. It's basically about, not very much, maybe about 5 foot there that needs attention. So, if this council can assign somebody to get that filled in there. We've taken care of our property, but not the city's property, because it was left like that.
So the guy that dug this hole was working for
Upper Des Moines.
Upper Des Moines. I would say we need to talk to Upper Des Moines and let them know that it needs to be done.
And it's more of a safety thing,
Yeah.
for the city.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, we're dealing on the other side with, between our property
Yeah.
and what happens with our property, so. Did you guys have any questions on those pictures at all?
I'm trying to orient myself, Cindy. It's running parallel to the highway, correct?
Yeah, so there's a stop sign there.
Stop sign there, Fort Lightning.
Yeah, 4th Avenue, 4th and Highway 4. Yeah. It's been aired out long enough, time to get filled. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. You bet that's fun.
Anybody else got anything? You have any? All right, consent agenda. Did everybody get a chance to look at the bills?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Cody first and Brian second. All in favor? Motion carried. Old business. Action regarding city power supply and long-term energy planning. Have we been, there he is.
Okay, so before I get into the power supply, I was just gonna talk about, well, it has to do with power supply too, because we have to pay for it somehow. Things we've been talking about for a while, and then I seen there's a budget workshop maybe Wednesday, so just so you guys are aware of what, some stuff that has to be done. I think we need to work on a capital improvement plan for the electric system for the next 10 years. And to do that, I kind of go with our coordination study and updating of the system maps. The maps haven't been updated since 2016. And then we need to gather some load information to do that too. And then once we have the capital improvement plan complete, we can determine what projects need to be completed in what order. We need, we borrowed some voltage regulator controls from Corn Belt, and we still have those in place. So those need to be updated. Then also the batteries for the breakers in the sub, they run on DC power, so those are hitting the time frame where those all need to be replaced too. Then the substation transformer is approaching 48 years old. So we probably need to put that on the radar as well. All this stuff's pretty spendy. And then as far as the power supply, I got a hold of RPGI and I got all the bills back to 2021 and we put all those on the spreadsheet. And then 2022 to 2023, there was a big jump. And right now in 26, they're talking to increase, it's gonna increase even more. And so I asked Greg to come talk about some of that too.
provided me the information from the RPGI bills back to 2021. Shows how many kilowatt hours, what your demand is, all of those various things. And so I just made up a little summary here for you. So the first is just your annual kilowatt hours back to 2021. The blue part is the part you get from WAPA. WAPA is the dams on the Missouri River. The federal government generates power from those, and you buy some of your power from them. The rest comes from RPGI. So about 25% of your power comes from WAPA. The other 75% comes from RPGI. You've been about 21 million kilowatt hours a year in total. Back to 2021, your average is 21.26. So it's hovered from 21.88 was the most in 2022. 2024 was 20.39 million. So again, about 21 million kilowatt hours. The next chart shows your costs. The blue part again is from WAPA, which you can see is a very small part. WAPA is also a very low cost power provider. It's about 3 cents a kilowatt hour. The orange part is your RPGI. Just to give you an example of what Craig was talking about, 2021, your power supply cost was 1.13 million. 2022 was 1.18 million. By 2025, that had jumped up 1.55 million. Or up to 1.55 million. So about a $400,000 increase compared to 2021 that you're having just getting power just delivered to Pocahontas, let alone your cost of distributing it to the residents around town. The next is a summary, and just following up, the following pages shows the detail for each year, and the part in blue on the next page is just blown up, so it's a little easier to read on this part. In 2021, your all-in cost, so taking your lower cost WAPA, your RPGI, as the very bottom right number, is 5.23 cents. In 2025, that cost had jumped up to 7.3 cents. Year to date so far, you're at 8.4 cents. Compared to the first 5 months of 2025, your costs are up $147,000 compared to last year. But yet your kilowatt hours are only up 42,000, almost 43,000. So you've had a 30% cost increase, but your kilowatt hours has only changed 0.7%. So kind of looking at the power supply bills that you get from RPGI, I do think there's opportunities out there for you to be able to do it cheaper. You would have to give notice by the end of this year to get out of your current contract, but that wouldn't end until the end of 2028. You have to give 2 years notice. And this is your window to give this year. If you don't give notice this year, you're going to be stuck for another 5 years. So you'd be stuck through the end of 2033.
So we need to make a decision
By December.
Yep, by December.
on what we wanna go with for a supply company.
Correct.
And do we have alternatives? I mean,
So obviously, Nymeka, who I work for, is an alternative. We're the ones that supply West Bend, Grettinger, Lorenz, Algona, 13 communities around the state. There are other options. It probably makes Craig's life a little easier if it is us, simply because he's already dealing with us and is familiar with us through the other 2 towns, but there are other options, if you want to do it. If you want to do a formal RFP, you probably need to hire an engineering firm or somebody like that to do that. Part of the reason too these contracts take 2 years or have 2 years notice is because of the time frame it takes to get things switched. Their studies have to be done, metering's gotta be updated, communications pass, all that. So that's part of the reason for this 2-year lead time on your contract, to give time so you pick a new supplier, they can start getting everything set up without having a gun to their head on being
what
rushed.
will we have to, can you tell us at all yet what you know that we will have to change? If we go with Nymeka, are we gonna have to change?
Nothing that you really have to do changes. Most of the stuff is on our end. You have meters down at the substation. Those meters have communications hooked to them. They point to over here right now. If you go with us, we have to get that changed so they point to over here. It's a lot of things like that that's
Okay.
work, but it's not really
like nothing that you're physically going on. When the contract switches, nobody's gonna notice any difference. It's just gonna be, the meter's gonna be read at midnight and say, you're done with this one and now the new one starts. So there really isn't anything physical that you would have to do or need to do.
So I feel like my job on this council is to plead ignorance in many different areas, and this is one of the many. With the increase in the power usage, can I say that?
Power cost.
Power cost.
Power cost.
What's with that? Like, is it?
It's a combination of things. It's, you know, and I don't know everything about RPGI, but part of it is what their power supply sources are going up in cost. It is a general increase in all costs. You know, even, you know, cost of fuel is up. You know, whether it be coal or natural gas, however the power is generated, that's up. Just the general increases. You know, you think the cost of getting power to Pocahontas. There's transmission lines. You know, 5 years ago you could build a transmission line, a mile of it, for $250,000. Today that's $350,000. All of that goes, you know, transformers, like Craig mentioned, your substation transformer. Those are what, anywhere from 18 to 36 month lead time if you order it today before you get it.
Probably longer than that.
And the cost of those is, a lot of those is doubled in some cases over 5 years ago.
So it's more about the cost versus the usage.
Yes, your usage is actually
It's about the
down.
same. It's down.
It's
Okay.
same or
Okay.
down,
Okay.
which makes it even worse because your
Right,
cost
that
is
is
going
worse.
up and you're consuming
Okay.
less.
Okay. Thank you.
So NYMECA would be more than willing to, I'm gonna just layman's terms, give us a quote, so to speak.
I believe so, yes. We have a board meeting next week and we will be talking about it. But from prior conversations, I believe, yes, we will be willing to do that.
Okay.
So, Craig, I have a question for you. You were talking about all the improvements that
Yep.
we need. Have any of them been budgeted for? Do you
No,
know?
the only thing, and I didn't even say it, was I think for a few years, we've talked about a back trailer. That's the only thing I'm aware of. We've talked about all this other stuff. Some of these notes are from 24, but then we were trying to figure out where we're at, so we haven't really done
Okay.
much on that.
I know that during budget time when all the departments came, Craig had a list, I
It's
believe.
this is pretty much the same list as that.
And I believe Laura has it, we asked for it, but never got distributed. But we did set money aside for certain things in the capital improvements. It was just, we didn't know, we talked about the projects, but we've never physically seen all of them on paper.
And we never got your list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can send a new one too.
If you wanna just email it to me, I'll
Yeah,
make
that'll
sure
be
it's in there on Wednesday.
Yep.
One thing I'd note too, if you go to the page where the blue is and go to that next section, if you look at that last column, your all-in costs, you know, in January it was 7.53, 8.37, so on, 9.57 in May. Your residential rate, I think, is like 9 cents. So you're potentially going backwards. So another thing that you probably need to look at is the rate study. I think it's been a long time since a formal one's been done. So that's another thing kind of with your capital. That ties hand in hand too with your capital improvement plan. You come up with your plan, your engineer or whoever you hire to do that can build into the rates like, okay, we gotta start setting aside money for this, or we gotta pay for this, or we're gonna borrow money to do these and we're gonna pay it off. Whatever that combination is, your rate consultant will work with you on that to help you get your rates set appropriately, and also to make sure that each category of rates is paying their fair share. You know, you've got residential, commercial, and industrial. They'll analyze that, you know, who's causing your peak demand, you know, who should be paying more, those types of things. They do all of that stuff to make sure your rates, your customers are being allocated fairly.
What's the best way to move forward, like you say, hire an engineer, whatever, where do you start?
I've kind of talked with DGR a little bit, and they're working on getting a quote to see what it would cost.
You got
Yep.
contacts and stuff,
Yep.
that stuff going, okay.
That's who I would recommend too. They're the predominant electrical engineering firm in the state, I think. there's some over in eastern Iowa too, but I think of our 13 members, I think all but 2 use them, might even be down to 1. So.
I work with them in West Bend and Gretzer, and, I mean, the map updates, DGR did those last year in 16 too, so, I mean, Pokey's worked with them.
DGR is the one that originally did all of the work to bury everything in town here. They were the engineering firm that was involved. They're back in the early 90s when that was done. So they have a long relationship with Pocahontas.
That always helps if they know
Yeah.
what it is we're talking about.
Right.
What do we need to do moving forward to, if we decide if we're going to go a different route with our power supplier? We just have to decide
What's the next step?
and say that we're gonna get out our contract or.
I would say ultimately you have to decide if you wanna, get one proposal or 2, or do the formal RFP, for all power suppliers to give you offers. Decide
Decide on
what path you wanna go down, and then that helps give you direction on what your next steps would be.
So if we want quotes from other people posted in the leagues, is that the best place to do that?
That would be one way, or else, contact other potential suppliers directly.
And just to be crystal clear, Greg, when going back to the cost situation, if we do choose to switch power supply, are there any additional costs or hidden costs that citizens or city may encounter?
So the biggest thing is gonna be, it's gonna depend on your contract, first of all, what they're gonna require. Like, if it would be us, like I talked about that cost of getting, say, the meter stuff changed, there's gonna be a couple $1,000 cost to doing that. We're gonna pass that on to you. But it shouldn't be anything major. It might be 2,000 here, 5,000 there, but it's not gonna be like $200,000 or something like that, I don't expect. I would note, just to be clear, if it's us, so currently the 13 towns we serve are members. You would not be a member, you would be a customer. Now, you would still be able to come to meetings, Craig can come. The difference is, to become a member, then there would be a big cost, because you would have to buy in to what we have for equity, and just a really rough, quick number, that could be as much as $500,000. So I'm assuming you don't want to do that.
Not right now.
Has the city of Pocahontas ever been a member of?
No, Pocahontas has always been independent. RPGI is actually the first group that they've ever joined. And the reason for that is like RPGI, they're buying power from like NextEra and other entities, so they don't own generation plants. Our members have joint ownership in 2 coal plants with Mid-American, they have joint ownership in transmission, we have contracts for 2 other power plants. So we have things we own, so that's why you'd have that big buy-in cost.
All right, anything else?
And as you look over that stuff, if you have questions, you can let Craig know, or reach out to me, or however people know how to get hold of me and stuff.
Just so you guys know, I asked them to come to the budget workshop Wednesday night because Greg could explain what the capital improvements and equipment was set up for, and then we can talk about what you want to do. But I just thought that was a good place to start, was for everybody to understand what the intent was whenever it got set up. And rather than him tell me and me tell you, I figured we'd just ask him.
Can you make
Yeah,
it?
there's at 4, right? 4 o'clock on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be very beneficial.
And non-related to that, I thought of something too that maybe would be helpful if the council's interested. You and I talked the other day about the printouts, how it will show like 2 years ago, current year budget, year to date, and then had like the blank planning lines. If you could just print one of those out for everybody for one department, and could kind of walk through that, like what the process used to be for budgeting, because I think that would help too for timelines and how you would get some things
Sounds like starting with electric might be a.
Electric would be a good one, a good example, but just to walk through that kind of like how the process was, not saying the way I did it was right, but it was a very methodical process, so you weren't like, here's the deadline, and you got a gun to your head, you gotta get it done, so.
How far back do you want me to go with that?
I'd say if you can just do that planning report, like for budgets, it used to have 2 years ago, and then it would have like the current year's budget, what's been spent, current year to date, and then it had a blank that could be filled
So
in
just
for
do that.
next year's.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
All right, we appreciate you guys coming and see you Wednesday. I'm really looking forward to the information you guys are gonna bring us.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, next, resolution 2026, approval of travel club for cemetery maintenance. Mr. Mask, I see you're here.
I am.
Would you like to speak?
I met with insurance and I forgot your name. Ryan. Talked through, different options, settled on independent contractor agreement was what he felt most comfortable with moving forward. Can't say I really love that from a tax standpoint, but he also talked me through how I would navigate that. Insurance wise, I think it was at 140, what was the total?
285
285 was the premium. What?
annually.
Annually. Obviously I would love for the, city to pay that or pay that on top of the total so that I could have that coverage, cause that sounds like that's a need in terms of the city wanting that for our group. I don't know what else to really tell you. I mean, we've done it for half the year.
I was gonna say,
I
how
would-
is it going? I mean, are the kids okay with it? Is it working out? Do you
Yep.
have any problems?
No, so we worked it out really well where we have a good group of mowers, and we start here, we mow here. On a good day, we'll then go to Plover and Havelock, those will be mowed. We'll then weed eat there, come back here and finish. I think we've had up to 26 people weed eating at once out there. I mean,
That's awesome.
and when you have 26 people, it takes about 45 minutes and it's done. But
That's awesome.
that's families that are invested in it. So parents helping their child traveler, brothers and sisters helping their sibling that's traveling, or travelers themselves. And so it's very rewarding. Like I kind of mentioned this to you earlier. I like to pay first half mowing at the first week of July. I'd love to be approved. I'd love to get a check so I can start to do that. We go to Iceland the 22nd, banking on their
Oh,
mowing
they are
money.
banking on some of this money?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because there's just different costs associated. All the travelers have paid off their fees, but now it's money on trip.
Right.
And so they know that this time of year they get that, and then we just have a really good turnaround of, even if they've traveled with the Galapagos set up for 2 years from now, we got kids already lined up to step in, and a ton of repeat travelers that are gonna go again. So we won't see a drop in
Yeah, they're
work.
coming to get passports.
Yep, so.
All the time.
No, I have no problems with it, other than I blew a motor out of my mower yesterday, and it is gone. I mean, it's gone. So, that happens.
It does.
That's
It
the
does.
joy of volunteer mowing right there.
Can we vote on that, you guys, whether we want to pay the insurance?
Ryan, if we pay the insurance, will it affect his independent contractor status?
Rather than pay the insurance, I just want you, so if the agreement's 8,000, we add that and the agreement's $8,200 and whatever dollars.
Alright.
And and then
Right,
I'll
you can
write a
write me a
check to
check,
you
yeah.
for the insurance.
Alright, so we just.
That would be probably the most straightforward way.
You just want reimbursed.
From a,
Yes.
and from a tax standpoint, you'd be able to deduct that, and it would make more sense anyways.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 2026 with the amendment of the total, including the insurance premium, and the payment to be reflective of July 1st and the end of the year.
Yeah, so anytime like first part of July, and typically we're not done till, let's just say, first or second week in October. Sometimes we're mowing then. So an October payment is fine, and late September, it doesn't really matter to me.
That way I'll keep it in the same fiscal year, so it'll be easier for us to
Yeah.
figure out too.
Yes. Can we get him a check then if we go through with this?
I'll add that to my motion with the agreement to pay him tonight or tomorrow, this week.
This week?
I can stop in tomorrow or a
Tomorrow.
different day. Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Does that insurance thing have to, no, because there's no amount on here, so. Okay, Nicole,
So I'm just gonna pay half of it?
yes,
Okay.
All the insurance, but half of the,
$4,285.
or the insurance cost, yeah.
Yep. And it'll be paid to you?
Yep, that's what it sounds like. I know. So, but it'll work.
We'll need to get information for 9/9 or however you guys are gonna do that, W9. But
Yeah.
we'll get them your information.
Yep.
Okay.
That's fine. Other than that, no, it's gone very well, and I think it looks really nice. I mean, I've been real happy with.
Good.
In the future, like next year, you still planning on?
As long as you have me, I'll just keep doing it. As long as we have trips going, there's not a lack of need of ways for kids to raise. So this just happens to be one that they've really taken to, and
I've heard it looks nice.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
My mom and dad drive by 4, 5, 6 times a day.
that's all right. So,
Hey Cody, one thing, I think when you guys took over the cemetery, there might have been some equipment left over. I'm not sure, it sounds like it's decent equipment, but I think it's the city's now.
Get out there, figure out what we're gonna do with it.
Yeah, one thing that I request that he uses his own equipment, from an independent contracting standpoint, it's important that he uses his own equipment, but I just don't want it sitting out there and then
Yeah.
mice or something get into it or whatever.
Can we donate it to?
We could sell it for $1, but you can't donate.
Okay, I knew there was something that I was not
Yes, we
thinking.
can, technically you're not supposed to donate.
Would that
That's
be-
right, we're not.
I don't buy any equipment.
Would that you'd be interested if we would sell it?
Yes,
Look-
I'm
looking
serious.
Looking at the equipment that we have.
yeah. I'm not lying when I say a motor blew yesterday on a 5-year-old mower, which should not happen, but it did.
Do you remember what equipment was out there? I think you said.
I have never actually opened it up and looked at it.
Okay.
Jeff Shearer has.
Okay.
That's why.
I think there's a couple decent like John Deere riders out there, a couple.
I would absolutely love to look at that.
Weed eaters and things like that, but just.
Mhm.
just
Is
a
the
thought.
door
There's-
locked? I mean, I don't
Yes,
know.
I'm not sure what it's
I don't know where they.
There's zero turns out there. Very nice ones. You know, weed eaters. I mean, they are, yeah, very good equipment. I mean, the same mowers that we have, you know, so, yeah, it'd be a,
Talk to Dave before we.
Before we do anything.
Yes.
Mhm.
Sure they don't.
Right, I understand that. So, let me know either way, so,
Okay,
If you come in the afternoon,
tomorrow,
yeah, don't come first thing.
yep, that's fine. So, I have a Pokey Foundations meeting at like 5 tomorrow. I'll try and be in sometime late afternoon.
I'll probably be here till 7.
Oh, okay,
So,
then we'll be okay.
I'll second Nicole's motion.
Okay. Cody second, all in favor? Let's see, on this one is a
It's a roll call.
resolution. I have to roll call. Van Dam.
Aye.
DeWalt.
Aye.
Stover.
Aye.
Klein. Aye. Harrison. Aye. regarding water ordinance amended 10/27 of 24 that was never actually put in place. I'm assuming what we actually wanna do is maybe,
Do not requested this item.
okay,
Just because I think you need to do it sooner than later, and this was published.
yeah, it was actually published, so I don't know why we can't just say,
What is our current rate?
Oh, yeah, I'll print it off, can we have it in last,
Yeah, we have all those tables. There were like 13 different
yeah.
rates.
Oh, yeah. I just need, there's just one rate.
No,
on-
there's,
Commercial or residential or.
well, then there's a government, and then there's a city. And I need you to tell me what's government, is that, do you intend for that to be just the city? Or government, does that include the school, the post office, the hospital, the whoever else? Why should all of those places have a different rate than anybody
And
else?
that's something we're gonna talk about on Wednesday.
We can, whatever you guys decide you wanna do.
Maybe even ask Greg, what he thinks, what it was when he's here, he just decided.
You're saying what the difference in the rates were? Or the ideas behind all the different
Yeah,
rates?
yeah.
cause
Tables.
he might be able to tell us
What the idea
more.
between all the. I'm just looking on here, it's like usage charge is 7.5, meters are all different.
Yeah, like, so number one corresponds to one of the tables she gave, number
Yes.
two, and so those raises were for each of the tables that she's been going off of,
Yes.
basically. I think the thing is, either we table, like you said, until Wednesday and decide if we wanna do that, but then
Yeah,
it
and I'm
becomes
fine
more
with
of a
that.
meeting than a workshop.
Well, you can
Or we-
kinda decide what you wanna do and then have the ordinance at the next meeting.
Yeah, or these should have went into effect when they were published, unless, well, this is the summary, right? So this was already after it was voted for?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we passed all this.
So these should have went into, this was voted and approved and should have went into effect, we never did for
Yes,
this thing.
but I mean, are we at the 7 point, or have we even got to that? So I'm looking on under October 1st, the use charge is 7.5 per thousand. Are we even up to that?
I don't think these raises ever went into effect, that's what she's getting at, is that this was approved and voted on and nobody ever transferred and started billing.
Yeah,
that
I
way.
just mean, if we would start at the dates, you know, do we need to change the dates
No, and
and step it up again?
I think so. I think you just need to do another ordinance that says, here's what it is. But even if this had gone into effect, if you wanted to change it, you could. You would just do another ordinance. And so, and I can have all of those rate tables printed off for you again, Wednesday. And we can visit with Greg and see what he thought. I don't think he was still there when this was done, but at least he's gonna be a great reference for us.
What would be, what would be how much would we be ahead if we just said, okay, we're gonna start charging these, and then potentially if we do a rate study and we do it again, is it worth it to write up an ordinance to charge for 2-3 months while we do the rate study and then raise it again potentially, or should we
Or
just?
did we start out with the April 1st, 2026 billing? And,
Yeah, that's what,
that's basically what Cody was asking.
Yeah, as I'm saying, if you go to April 1st, where we should be at, we're about 845, we've already missed how many increases. Are you just gonna put that all on one? Or we-
yeah, I think it needs to go up more than that, than what's on here for April of '26, because, yes, it wasn't increased for the 2 years before that.
Right.
And so probably, I printed off earlier today and I don't remember what it was, the water, and I can print it off here again, so I'm not just spouting air, but the sewer's not in real good shape either. And the electric, I mean, it made good money, but not if we need to do all of the projects that, even if we space them out over 5 years, our rates aren't good enough to handle those kinds of increases.
So, when you say something about going with the April 1st, are we still talking about the difference between government and city?
Well, this doesn't look like it.
Okay.
And to me, everybody should get charged the same rate. It doesn't matter how much water you use or who you are, it costs us a certain amount
I kind of agree with you on that.
to produce it. And now, something I started today, in a lot of different audits, not here, maybe, that one I'm not sure about, but anyway, the city is supposed to be metered for all of the services, and we are to write a check from the city to the city to cover those utility bills. Well, I did that, it's in the list of bills, you'll see one for city of Pocahontas, and it's only for 2 months. So it's I don't remember now, around $8,000 or something. But when we're giving those reports to Craig's outfit, we're not including that. We're including it for usage because you paid for that many kilowatts, but we've never generated any money for those kilowatts. And so in order to make the reports mean a little more, we need to meter everything and pay for it. I mean, it's just writing a check and depositing it back in our account, but it makes all those reports that we turn in much better, more accurate.
The city needs to pay its bills, in other words.
And that's where it's at a different rate than the citizens, but it still costs you the same thing. I know. And that's why I need to know, we need to clarify that too, that everybody, no matter who it is, pays X amount for each gallon.
I'm gonna ask a really dangerous question. Do we have this ordinance? Do we know where this ordinance is at?
I could not tell you that for sure. I know there's one folder in there that says ordinances before 2022, but I'm not sure where the more current ones are.
It's potentially in the binder in there,
It is.
potentially.
Well, I really think we need to table this, talk to Greg on Wednesday. I'd like to do personally a little bit more research. I'd like to see this actual ordinance and read what it actually says. If,
I don't have a problem.
to me, it looks like this is getting rid of all of those, tables, and it's, if you have a 3/4 inch meter, you're getting billed this much for your base charge. A 1 inch, this, a 1.5 inch, this. And it appears to me that this has taken away all of those.
It could have, yes.
That's why I would like to read that actual ordinance if we can find it.
Well, I think this is the actual ordinance.
No, it's just a summary.
Yeah, I think it's a summary.
Is it?
Yeah, it
The
says
statement
ordinance.
is a summary of the
Oh,
ordinance.
okay,
It says
all right,
ordinance summary.
sorry.
I know the code book I got, I think there's only the one water rate, there isn't the government and all that. So, if it's on the computer or wherever, it just
table of contents. Do you know which chapter it is?
Well,
I'll search it. Go way faster.
Tell me which one it is, so I can read it too.
I think it was chapter 90 was one of the water ones I said to Alex one time. Or
Water
around
supply.
there.
What are rates? Here we go.
see, that's
And
just
some of that
effective
says,
26.
that basically is this.
What
And
is,
I don't think it ever got changed in the system.
what is the first number on there?
The first number on here though is 2016, or May of 2016.
2016.
But it is,
What is your water usage per thousand? I don't care about the meters.
usage charge, $6.35 per thousand.
So this ordinance is basically what you, it just has the severability clause on there when it's effective and it's passed and approved, otherwise it reads exactly as the summary in the paper reads.
Does it?
Is that, that's the 2020?
2024. First reading was September 23rd, second reading was October 7th, third was waived. Of 2020.
Yes. Do you wanna see this? This is
No,
the,
I'm just curious.
this is the old one,
I'm just curious where we're at.
right?
Yeah.
Well, and where we should be at now,
I see where we should be at.
that's a big difference. And that's gonna be a heck of a jump.
I mean, I don't want our accounts to be negative, but it's also.
I also don't wanna put a hardship on,
It's been 2 years, and at this point, if we took a couple months to do a rate study on all of ours and figure out what is actually doable, I feel like that's way more fair to our citizens than to just say,
yeah,
hey, pay me all this much money more when,
yes.
Yeah, just make sure they're in the books right now, and that's when we start charging.
that's gonna be, like she said, what, over $2
Oh, at
rate
least,
increase
yeah.
per usage? Going from, what was it, $6.35 and $8 and,
48.
I have it, Kristen.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm a student, but I got a water bill that was
Suddenly,
$2 more per gallon, that's gonna be a hefty jump overnight for
Yeah.
someone, for a lot of people.
and that's not fair, and we're not here to, right past wrongs, but we have to, move forward and do the right thing for the city, but also for the citizens.
Right, yeah, I like the idea of waiting until the rate study, if that's gonna be sooner than later. Because then it seems to just,
I haven't gotten anybody to reply to me.
for the rate study,
Well,
They're gonna tell us to go up.
Well, yeah,
They're gonna tell us we gotta
Absolutely.
wait.
I
Well,
just,
we just gotta decide on what we're gonna tell them.
I think it comes across better when inevitably Janon and Derek and potentially Kim are gonna get people in here and get phone calls. And if we can say, we did this rate study and this is what it needs to be able to do X, Y, Z that we need to do, that's a better answer than saying, we found an ordinance from 2 years ago, they didn't charge you what you need to, and now we're asking for more money.
well, and I don't have a problem with that. At some point in time, you're really gonna have to jump the rates if you're gonna do that new water project. And how long do you know, how far down do we wanna be before that new project starts? And I have no idea how much they're gonna say you're gonna have to increase, cause I haven't seen what the total cost of that is. But just remember, okay, this says, what you figure out, $3? Okay. Well, let's just say the engineers say, in order to cover whatever your loans are, your minimum is gonna be twice what it is.
Right. So that's why I think we should just start charging what should be charged according to this ordinance.
Or how about we start with the October 1st, 24, jump it to that base where this technically is supposed to have started, just make it,
We start the incremental.
yeah, start the
At the
increments,
start.
instead of going to, April 1st of 26, start out with the October 1st of 24, and then,
What if we start out April 1st of 25?
yeah,
And just
that,
make that
yeah,
what, 20,
make that 26
make
instead
that
of 25.
26.
Because that's not as big a jump.
It'll be $1.50. Whatever, so make them go $1.50 and go $2.
Cause what is it right now, 6.35, you said?
Was,
That's what the ordinance says.
But yeah, I don't,
Before all
I'm
this-
not to say.
I have the,
I think your usage though is at, well, for some of the coverages, it's 7.5 cents a gallon, but others, it's .00811, which is the $8.11. So your usage for part of the people is already at this October 25 level.
What is that?
It's at $8.11 per thousand.
Is that residential or is that?
Oh, a little low.
I'd say table it until we get a look at this on what the, how this works.
You wanna motion that?
Make a motion to table it, get a little more guidance until that.
I'll second.
Cody and Nicole. All in favor? Motion carried, that one's tabled. Discussion and possible action regarding outstanding city audits and compliance requirements.
I've gotten 2 notices in the last month from the state auditor's office saying, what are you gonna do about your audit? This is, well, the first one just asked, the second one said, second request. So, do you want me to call Jerry and say, hey, we have to have this done, the auditors are pressing us, and if you're gonna borrow money for USDA, you've gotta have it done anyway. So do you want me to see if I can get her to move? We can do the state, it's gonna be a 6 to 9 month wait on the audit, and then once they do it, then it's 6 to 9 months before it's gonna come out. So, and I'm not saying Jerry's gonna be a whole lot faster, I don't know.
I did look at the state website after last discussion about this, and contacted pretty much everyone that was under the state's web, like, directory within a, I think, 50-mile radius or 60-mile radius, something of that sort. The one that Storm Lake recommended up in Spencer, I did call them, they said they would let me know, but they were pretty much at max capacity, so they didn't really know what their ability was. I did never hear back from them. And then I did hear back, well, I sent contacts to 1, 2, 3, 5. One said they don't have the capacity, and I never heard back from the other one.
I
we're on the list. And I don't know if she'll bump us up, will she? I don't know. I didn't wanna call without council permission. And I can tell her it just has, we've got 3 years and it has to be done, and it has to be done
Yes.
rather quickly.
Rather quickly, we need to get the 3-year one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll get us through
If-
June 30 of this year.
Right.
I think, Janon should call and have that conversation with Jerry. Let us know what the likelihood of that is, and then we need to, if it's something that can be done, we'll do it. If not, we need to have a conversation about how we wanna proceed and who we wanna pursue it.
To have the state audit, say, last year,
They would go back and start where we left off, so they would do 23, 24, 25, and 26.
but I mean, if we get on their list now, you said it's how far, what if we get Jerry to do? Up until then, will they still go back to the 20? Or will they just go back to where she ended at?
Where she did last.
If we got on the list now and say when they came knocking at our door 6 to 9 months ready to do it, if Jerry had 23 and 24 done, they would do 25 or whatever.
When you contract with them, you have to tell them how many,
You have
and is it gonna be a full audit, or is it an examination, or?
So you can't just tell them the day they come and say, this is what we have.
Right.
You gotta tell them that very often.
Yeah, 'cause you can't expect anybody to come in blind and not know how long it's gonna take them.
Well, yeah, and I don't know the last time Jerry has even been contacted directly. I don't know that. if
I
anybody
don't know
knows
that I know Laura sent her an email in, I'm not gonna tell you for sure, I think December. I know Lake City sent one, and Jerry responded back she could do it in December, and then they not heard from her yet. So, but I do know Laura did send her one, asking her.
Laura said she was in contact with her late March, early April,
That
and that she had
sounds-
had a medical situation,
Oh, that's
so
right, that's right.
she
You
had
had said that.
finally reached back out to kind of give people an update of where they were.
That's right, you had said.
So I can call her and see if I get a hold of her before Wednesday night, and we'll have some idea of what we might wanna do.
Let's do
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Go from there.
And I made a motion to approve Janon to call Jerry to follow up. Is that overkill? Or you wanna take no action?
It's just a word of mouth, tonight.
Yeah.
I would say.
No action on that one. Date for financial workshop part 2.
We decided we were gonna break it up into
Yep.
2, so we have Wednesday. When do you wanna do the second one?
Let's go for this first one.
I would aim for not the week of the 20th, the 2 meetings per week. That's my exam schedule.
Yeah, and the next week, I know I have an appointment on the 28th that I cannot miss. And I usually come up on Friday before a council meeting. So, that works for me, or you can make it later. You may wanna make it the middle of August, since this is so hectic. Up to you guys. And some of them may decide that what we cover Wednesday night.
Do you wanna just schedule part 2 on the 20th? At that meeting, I'll put it on the 20th agenda, we can schedule part 2.
We can schedule, we can talk about when we wanna do it then.
Maybe make the schedule after this.
Yeah, to transfer this agenda line basically to the 20th.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'll make a motion to table this until July 20th.
Nicole and Cody, all in favor? Motion carried. Possible action regarding property maintenance and nuisance ordinance. This is an ongoing issue, maybe? Kim, that was yours?
Well,
You talking to people?
I think all of us probably get daily contacts from our citizens about this, and so I just wanna continue to make sure that we're continuing to address it and deciding what's next and just kind of figuring out where we're at and what our next steps are and do
We keep assigning officers out as call volumes go down enough, then we assign officers out to each different little property or car or whatever that we have. And a lot of it, the priorities come from those that have already called in complaints, so.
Are we keeping track of what properties are, you do have a record of who you're talking to and?
It's all in Shieldler, it's all in
Okay.
the description.
And so are we talking about, Alex, cause we hear both, the grasses,
So
and then
grass-
we hear, that's different.
Grass is a completely different animal, and remember, we had to start late on the
Yes,
grass.
yes.
Because we didn't have it published. After we had it published, we talked to several people, and,
Yeah,
I haven't come across any like we had, so.
okay, and so this is specific to junk cars,
Yeah,
that
and
kind
like I
of
said,
thing.
and again, so like, yeah, I mean, so Josh had some more time, so he said, so I gave him, give him a couple more properties and just assign those properties out as we have complaints that have come in, so.
And how do you, just for my information, like, what do you say to them, or what's your typical approach to that?
It just depends on what the nuisance is, so if we're talking, and I'll use real-time examples, so we had one neighbor that it was upset about a race car and then a minivan that was located in the backyard of a property not registered or whatever. The officer's gone now twice, we gave them 30 days to correct the nuisance. Since they got rid of the race car, the van, they kind of stalled out on us a little bit. For the most part, it's an instructive process, because I'm sure Ryan wants to go every day on going on some of these to court. So normally, it's better for us to encourage them, and rarely do we anybody ever kick back and deal with those kind of things. So again, it's not and I always want to say this, it is an important part of the process, but like when we were going through our springtime, we had a lot of, I had a lot of serious calls in Pocahontas, so it made it, and the guys were kind of diversified in that. But for the most part now, then we go on to the next ones, And like you said, the cars, the city changed its ordinance on those, so we can go write tickets, but normally we give everybody 30 days out of the chute.
Okay,
Fix your problem. We've towed 4 or 5 cars now, junk cars,
okay.
so far this year, so.
Well, I think that's great. Can anybody complain? Like, could I, if I was biking by and I'm like, oh, could I do I have to be adjacent to the property or anything, or can I make a formal complaint?
No, and honestly, the police department prefers complaints, because when it's just the police that are complaining.
Yes.
It does make a difference, and I don't know if Ryan wants to back it, but the judge does look at that differently, that there's somebody impacted other than the cop.
Sure.
It's not saying that we don't have some weight in that, but,
Yeah.
we come in there. And then on so Chad is your mower too, so let's quick on Grant. I've sat and talked with Chad, and so then he works with Dave, but we always make sure, because one of the things the city was always we weren't doing the greatest was actually having the pictures and the measurements to go with it. So Chad was told to go mow it, so then we added that component, and that's why the police department gets involved in the grass, is so we go in, take a couple quick pictures, put it in a file folder, we text Chad or whatever and say, hey Chad, this one, hit it, go for it. We've tried to make contact, but in one season, we'll try and contact you once. After once,
Yeah, okay.
Chad will just go in and mow it. And for the most part, after the notice got posted, there were a couple, because I had talked to Chad about several, and then all of a sudden it was like, phew, they were all. We're looking a lot better now.
Yes,
I've got a
I
couple
agree
now
with
that are coming
the
around,
grasses,
so.
So in summary, it seems like if our residents would make more formal complaints, that would be helpful for the whole process.
Absolutely.
And we have those complaint forms up here at City Hall.
Or they can just call the comm center. They can just call 3536 and just
Okay.
call the dispatcher and say, I'm complaining about this. They don't even have to come to that point. They just
Okay,
have to
so they
call
can
in
call the
to
comm
dispatch
center
and say,
to
hey,
register a
I'm
complaint as well.
I'm Joe Schmo, and I want, and I think that this car looks horrible, and then we go in, and we document, and then go from there.
Okay, okay, thank you. That helps me share some information too if somebody
Yeah.
comes up or.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
You bet. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about getting the tree ordinance? What's the best?
Tree ordinance?
Yeah, dead trees
Oh, yeah.
around town. We do have an ordinance about dead trees. We need to post that, and then
Do we need to put it in paper, is what you're saying?
Yeah, we need to get that put in paper and let people know that we're going to, cause there's a lot of dead trees around town.
And you're talking dead trees that are on their own personal property,
Yes.
not the cities,
Not
it's
the
on the
city's
boulevard.
responsibility.
But even the curb or the,
Right away.
right away, that's theirs. Just
That's
like they
theirs
mow,
too.
it's just like they mow their grass.
We've been cutting down.
We've been cutting those down.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, we have.
Have we been charging them, or we're doing the
No.
service for the city to charge?
The elder cash, right?
Okay.
The disease ones.
And
But,
we
okay.
do have some left, we're not done,
Right.
but we just need to, I think we need to let people know they need to be
And-
Mine is on the
taking
list.
care of their own.
And can I add just one point to that, is, and it's been, it almost was a very serious issue for the city, but we got through it. Is that also people need to realize, this, the trees also have to be a certain height over the road surface. And the city is supposed to go around annually and do that, which, sorry, I mean, I'll do a lot of things, but an arborist I am not.
Yeah.
But people need to be aware that they gotta be at least 15, I think it's 15 or 8, no, I don't remember.
18.
18?
18 feet.
18
18 feet above the road surface, and we have some that are now well crossing a line over the city streets, and especially the state highways, which is even worse.
Yeah.
So just, I wanted to throw that in there too, just to go with that tree piece.
How long has it been since we hired somebody to,
Well, that's the
We
reason I
had-
bought that bucket truck was so
They've been doing
they
it.
could do it, and then they had the ash.
all the dead trees, they've been
Right,
working on
they've
that.
been- So they're just gotten behind.
I would say maybe at the 20th meeting, we just revisit this ordinance in general and have it reflect, because the grass is labeled as 12 inches, so there's a lot of people that probably are going to write complaints for grass height, and I can only think of a handful.
But they changed it to 8.
I think
It
it
might
said
be
8
over.
in the paper.
The ordinances I was ever given may be outdated, but I've asked for newer ones and never gotten them,
Sure.
so,
I'll show you where those folders are at too,
perfect.
because they did never leave where they were at.
So, the one I had, the one I put in your packet is grass is height of 12 inches and the height of trees is 15 feet off the surface of the street.
And there is actually a section for trees.
Yes, chapter 151.
You have, is that,
This should be in there after the,
Here?
you got the public notice, then you got 153, 151, and then your junk cars, and then how to abate it. So that's another thing, Kim, for a resource. Chapter 50 lays out the whole abatement procedure.
Thank you.
But if we wanna obviously look at whatever the updated ordinance is, and if there's any changes we wanna make, we might as well do that and then publish the new one.
Yeah, rather than publishing the old one.
Or if the new one reflects what we wanted to, then we'll
Right.
just go publish that one.
Right. Right. So we wanna table this until the 20th? I don't either, but I don't know what else we're gonna do.
I guess, I don't know, I mean, I received the information from Alex that I needed to hear. I think the next step would be to look at those, ordinances to make sure we're all aware of the ordinances. I don't know if we have to table it per se, or just put,
Yeah, we'll revisit updating the
Yes.
ordinances because that's already a
Yes.
massive project we're
Right.
looking at.
right.
So we're just gonna kinda let that one ride. Correct?
Well,
We'll look at the new one, see if it reflects what we want it to reflect. If it doesn't, I'll put it on the 20th and we can update it and then publish it. Otherwise, if it reflects what we want to, I'll put it on the 20th and we can publish it at that time.
yeah.
Alright, let's move on to new business then. Discussion and possible action regarding Prairie State's improvements.
Okay, I do have a handout for you guys. The first sheet is a snip from Beacon. Yep, right there.
Oh, yeah.
So I just wanted to come today to talk about the brick Prairie Estates sign and landscaping that sits on the north corner of the entrance, to Prairie Estates Drive. My husband and I live on that lot there. You can see on Beacon that sign and landscaping is not on our property. So when we moved there, we had contacted the city to see who's supposed to maintain that area, and we were told that it's the city. Nobody has ever come out and taken care of it, which I understand it's probably not a top priority. So my husband has been maintaining it, but if you turn to the second page, you can kind of see in those pictures that now there are some dead bushes, and it just looks kind of dull. And I think it would look a lot better if those were pulled, new things brought in, but I just don't necessarily think it should be at our expense.
Right.
So I did reach out to Austin Kakachik to see if it would be something he would be willing to take on. And you can see our conversation there at the bottom. It would be something that he's interested in. So I told him I would bring it to you guys to see if that would be a possible approval that we could get done, or how we should move forward on making that look a little better out there.
Do we have, any other, I don't think we do we don't have any other areas in town that look like this, right? Like that have a special sign for the subdivision, right?
Well,
Do we?
not
Probably
necessarily.
goes through town.
We have like the city sign.
The city
Yeah,
sign.
and then
It's the
at like
city
the
sign.
FSA, on the corner of 3 and 4 there, I think the women's,
The garden club.
yeah, the garden club.
And will that be done, or are they gonna?
They're
They're done.
done. They're
Right, so it's kind
discontinued.
of a discussion for several different areas, right? So technically, this should be, correct me if I'm wrong, this should be city's responsibility, and bless you for doing that. And, okay. So who does the garden club does the other area?
They do.
They did.
They don't anymore.
I did know.
Right, exactly. So is anybody doing anything, or is it falling apart?
I'll say those two brown signs on the edge of town don't look the greatest either.
Okay.
Well, I meant like, I'm sorry, on highway, highway four,
There is
still
a
look
lot.
Some
fine.
of them look better than others.
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
some of them that are on the property, I think the owners take care of.
Take a little bit of care of them, but
Okay, so, so one question I would have is, thank you for reaching out to Austin. One question I have is, do you individually contract with somebody, or do you just have a whole process for all of these different areas? Versus this one is this particular person, this one is this particular person, or do you do a whole kind of group responsibility for that?
I think we should go ahead and get this situation handled
Okay.
as a top priority, because we want it to look nice. We still have lots out there that we wanna sell, and it should look good. And then we revisit the other signs and getting them up to,
Okay.
and what we wanna do with that.
you want to, do we need a motion to do that? Is that your motion?
Well, I guess that's my approach now. How do we want to fix the Prairie State sign would be whatever my motion's would be, but I don't,
Is this something the travel club might be interested in?
I was gonna just.
Oh, that's a good suggestion
Hadn't thought of
too.
that. Hadn't thought of that.
Contact them, see what they say.
That's a good suggestion.
We'll go on from there.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay, that sounds good.
We'll
So
get
we
it
can
handled
just kind
tonight,
of-
thank you so much. Thank you, Lindsay.
We got a plan. So,
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lindsay.
That sign, the 4 signs, maybe even the sign on Main Street.
Yeah.
Cause those shrubs are getting, German shrub. It's a good idea. Just see what they say.
Must take, you want me to reach out to Mass? Or
If
you
you want to.
Does this have anything to do with, oh, wait a minute. Does this have anything to do with the street signs and the lighting for the golf course road?
Yeah, but, yeah,
Is that later?
yeah, no, you, I put that all lumped in there.
in the Prairie States. Okay, so, we have 2 residents here that live in that area, in the new area of town. Thank you for building and improving that area of town. So I found out that, the street signs, Dave ordered the street signs for that corner, okay, so that'll be done. So it'll be on Golf Course Drive and 7th Street Northeast or something like that.
Northeast Seventh Street.
Northeast 7th Street, exactly, so he ordered those signs, okay, and so he's taking care of that. When I asked Clint about the, lighting, the street lighting, cause Tammy, you had said that it was really dark, right, this last winter? And so when Clint's response, don't quote me on this, wherever you are, Clint, but, he had mentioned, and I should have asked Craig when he was here with Copeg, he had said that they have it's all here, the lighting's all here.
Oh, it is.
It has been here for quite a while, but yet I think it might be in the to-do list of Copeg to, right, Cody, to get that done,
One of the projects
one of their
this
projects,
summer.
right, so,
Fourth concrete, get the wires, fourth concrete,
Okay.
get the pole set.
okay, so are you kinda confident, Cody, or sorta confident that that is on their project list?
Yes, because
Okay.
I think at one time they had gone in March, where they're gonna put them.
Okay, okay,
I don't know, with the storm damage, in some of the other communities,
Sure.
slowed things down.
yes, yes. So, I'm feeling comfortable that, it's on the radar, and on a project list for Copeg to work with our city to get that done. All of the materials are here, as you know. Are you comfortable with that right now?
Yeah, I'd just like to see it done before, it starts getting dark
Right,
at
yes,
5 o'clock
right.
and 6 o'clock, and
Yes.
it's just pitch black.
Right, exactly. So maybe we can continue to just get updates on that and
That'd be
see where
great.
that's at. Is that just generally get updates, just naturally? Cody?
I can ask Clint again.
Okay, thank
I
you.
don't talk about the
Okay. Okay,
but
thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Yes.
So, and one thing on your project list, the one thing we've talked about a little bit, the streets are not very wide out there.
Right.
The city needs to look at potentially, again, however you wanna do it, putting no parking on one side of that street, because you will not get an ambulance or a fire truck down those streets as narrow they are, if people are parked on both, if there isn't some sort of, we can always hope for people to have good common sense, but the reality of it is that in a time of a fire, I don't know that I wanna wait for that. So, just so everybody's, this should be on the list somewhere.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, we don't need any motions or anything for that. You're gonna talk to the travel club and get back.
Great.
Okay, library board. I would like to reappoint Susie Ott, Judy Shimon, and John Smith. Their term expiring in July of '26. They will be serving an additional 6-year terms ending in July of '32.
Have these people been contacted for their?
Yes, Lola did.
Okay.
They all currently
Are on
there,
that board.
and they would like to stay on. Lola said she was gonna be here, but she had a previous commitment, so, she couldn't be here, but it happens. That's what she wrote. She wrote this letter, she supports.
So that was just an appointment, so I am appointing them, and you guys need to agree to it, or agree that you want these.
Our code says we have to approve her appointment to the library board. So I'll make a motion to approve it.
Nicole and Cody. Motion, whoops, not carried yet. All in favor? Well, now it's carried. Acknowledge acknowledge bid letting results and discussion possible action regarding the next steps for the shelter house. We didn't get anything for bids, is that correct? That's what I was told.
I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen anything. So, what's the next steps? What are we gonna do?
Build it.
Well, don't we have to do something?
You
or
don't have
we're-
to, you've received payment, or you've received partial payment, on an agreed upon amount. So you can use that money elsewhere, or if you're wanting to do something or reach out to people, we need to resolve it this summer with any potential of getting any additional funds.
So did you ever, we didn't really tell you to, but I know we talked about the, jail did Pomeroy's.
Correct.
Were they, do we know if they're interested, what their timeline would be?
You'd have to reach out to them and probably discuss the project and see, like, I don't know if they have all their summer projects planned or what their procedure is to get something like that done.
Yep.
Can the city
We
just-
didn't leave the claim open very well, so like the adjuster said he would really like to like resolve it, address it, like have some sort of plan in place this summer. If
If we at least get a plan in place, will they
we
work
need to
with us?
discuss it with him, we're just gonna have to have a discussion on it and like have some back and forth. I mean, I can let him know that there was no bids received and see what he says, but I think he's gonna want some direction in order to reopen it and reevaluate it and
Say if we reached out to someone, they said, yeah, I'll do it
and they,
April.
yeah, and they could give us
In
a
the spring.
timeline and a price and,
We have it
you
all
know, an estimate.
documented.
If you could find somebody, so, you know, you didn't get anything with the bid and you wanna reach out to contractors or to the prison
Can
or,
the city just reach out to a contractor and get a price?
well, I mean, if you, I think at this.
Well, if we put it out there,
Yeah.
the
If it's
experience
bid.
I've seen, if it's been put out for bids and we didn't get any bids, then
Where was it all advertised? The paper and Facebook and?
I put it on the league.
The league.
I tried to send it to like the website you had sent me with the directory, but I didn't have state access to get in there, so I had to manually search like each individual's in the surrounding county, or counties, I guess, and try to put a database together, and without spending $1 million in postage to send them all physically, it wasn't as feasible, so. But it was on the league for a couple weeks at least.
Did we receive anybody that came in and got a bid packet and was somewhat interested or?
I had one company reach out with questions that I answered, but they said they would take it back to their, and I never heard. But the Parks Board has a meeting on the 14th, I believe, too, so if it's something that, we have a discussion about what our ideas would be, I can take that to the Parks Board. They can decide what they wanna do and we can make those connections if that's what we wanna do and then go from there. Again, talk about it then and decide on the 20th.
And I think it's worth noting, like there was a few items that weren't related to the shelter itself, such as picnic tables. And
Did you ever get those quotes? I know.
I don't have any information as to whether those picnic tables were repurchased. If they weren't repurchased, like we should repurchase them and get the funds from the insurance company for that. Alex, was there anything else damaged out there? Like was there a camera or anything that we could look at repurchasing at least to get?
So there was so North, when I guess the city had owned it by this point, but it was, there was a camera and then the network transmission hub was out there. That's the reason why those cameras evolved.
Right, and then there was a few picnic tables and maybe like a grill. Was there a grill or?
I don't remember the grill, but I think there was like 2 or 3 garbage cans.
Yeah.
And,
So like all of that, like
and I believe they were the recycling ones. I know-
Because you can use those anywhere.
Right.
Or like whether you move them to, keep them at the park, move them to the pool, you know, use them somewhere else. That we just need to document and repurchase those, and I think because it's been some time, if we could, you know, before we order them and buy them, like I could just get it approved, I think I would feel better about that. So, you know, if we have a vendor that does picnic tables, we can get a price on it, and I can get it approved and get them replaced.
So do we have a formal list somewhere of the damage? Is that been?
I have what Laura submitted to the insurance company and what they've paid out.
Right.
And what has been held back. There was money held back until a quote would be provided. At one point, we were told that they weren't going to do anything, and so the claim probably prematurely got closed.
Sure.
Because we weren't gonna proceed with doing that with those funds, or we had received enough funds that we didn't need. It was gonna be under that limit. So, I have copies of that. It's been provided to the Parks Board and to the committee that works with the Parks Board.
Okay.
So they have all the documentation of
Sure.
timeline and those
Sure.
that paperwork.
We had asked for if that information had been collected, was what I was told is that information had been collected. And so we just asked for that to be sent to staff, and sounds like maybe that didn't happen, so if we can go ahead and either find it or just put together new quotes for all of that stuff, get it to her so we can at least get that. The thing about this is that A, it's been gone on for so long, that is one thing. Secondly, we left money on the table, right? We pay insurance for a situation like this to reimburse and to get us back to at least baseline for our structures that we insure, and
Yeah. And
because this
I had
happens-
asked it not to be closed. I had asked that we, you know, let's repurchase those items. Let's do a few additional things before we agreed on an amount, and that was not done.
What if we would reach out to Sands Construction since they're down there working already?
Absolutely.
And see about getting concrete for.
Yeah. Get a quote,
At least start with
get it
that.
approved, because they have some pricing built into those estimates that they agreed on with Laura as to what it would be, and if the cost of concrete is more, they're gonna naturally,
Do
you know, at
concrete,
least get
some
that.
sidewalks down there, or
Yeah.
maybe if they need to get, you don't have to be a sidewalk to hit from somewhere.
I think they're
You
willing
said
to work with
picnic
us
tables.
if we move on it in a quick fashion. It's just been a long time since they had contact on it.
And there were different amounts, so
There was some different
like
amounts.
there's an additional amount just for the picnic tables, but
Yeah, like the
that agreed
picnic
upon.
tables,
That's
they're
not part
holding
of-
back money on it because we've never received a receipt that they've been replaced or not
I don't know
replaced.
if you would go to Paluma in
Yeah.
Emmitsburg and get prices on picnic tables.
So is that the park board's job, or is that, or whose job is that?
to get the quotes.
Yeah. Is that our job or the park board's?
By your ordinance, it's the park board. Park board
Right.
controls it all.
I think them picnic
Or,
tables
And then they bring it to us and then we control
over there in Iowa Falls.
I also think like maybe some items
I don't know, I'm just,
were not reported. It was my concern too, because it's very like two picnic tables. Well, I think we pulled some photos of stuff that was surrounding it that I had in my file, because annually we go and take photos of each of the structures, and it just looked like maybe we missed some things. And if there's a camera, and you know, that's whether we replace it now, at least if we could get, you know, quotes and
Well,
funds.
it fixed that one corner, and then if I
Right.
get the network transmission stuff, I might be able to bring some of the other stuff back alive, or prepare for other cameras to bring it back alive.
Right, right. Or you could put that money towards the next system or something.
So, is the park board, Nicole?
The 14th
The 14th, and who's on the park board? I'm sorry, who's on the park board?
for the committee.
Yeah.
Wasn't.
Oh, good, I was gonna say. Okay.
I think, I mean, understanding the money part of it, yes, that's, the Parks Board should know what was out there. A, the Parks Board really wasn't, they were there, but they weren't there when all this happened. B, the quotes, again, I were told already existed, and so to get those quotes to her would be an administrator's position normally.
Sure.
So if we can get all of that together, I mean, I think Alex probably is the best option for cameras and network sort of thing. And then even looking at potentially talking to Helen to get tables or benches with bags that we could get that reimbursed in a different way and use those funds for something else maybe as a better option too. So I can, like I said, bring this all to the Parks Board on the 14th and figure it out, and then we can vote on that if you wanna do that.
I think that makes sense.
I do too. Do we need to, this is just all acknowledgement and possible action, but we're not gonna take any action, do we still need to just let it go?
You want me to reach out to Sands and just see what they'll,
Yeah, I mean, if we know that at least we have one viable option,
since they're there.
that we can get a timeline going, that'd be the best.
I'm busy, that's my, I'm busy with work, I mean.
Yeah. So Alex will get that stuff, Cody will talk to Sands, I'll try to put together and or find if the table stuff already existed and get all that to you, otherwise I'll just throw it
I've never
together.
seen quotes to replace any of it.
And did this happen actually?
December of 24, so,
Oh,
It was an arson.
oh, that's the arson thing.
This was
Yes.
and like, an insurance company doesn't really want to keep a claim
Right,
open
for
that
sure.
long, so, I mean, I'm kind of begging and pleading,
Yeah, we hear you.
kicking the can down the road.
Right.
Okay, all right, resolution 27/2026. Itron Tametra meter reading system.
Okay, you all know we've had problems with meter readings. And, for the July 1 bill, things didn't come across. So I put a call in to, a guy I know that works for Itron on Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock and asked him to come back on Monday, or to come up here on Monday, and he did, so we could get the bills out. Our software for that tablet is not the most current software. I don't know whether that's any of our problems or not, but it's just not the most current software. This proposal that Steve sent will do 2 or 3 different things. One, it'll keep us current on the software. One thing that is really nice, it's gonna keep a tracking record, especially for water. It can tell you when the leak developed. So if I call in and say, hey, this bill is way too high, we can look at that tablet and say for the first 10 days, it was normal, and then all of a sudden on the 11th day, they used 5,000 or 6,000 gallons of water. So we'll be able to tell them when it probably happened. The other thing that it's going to do is he's fixing it so he can log into our software. So if we're having problems doing something with the meter readings, instead of him driving from Des Moines or the other guy from Cedar Rapids or Waterloo, wherever he is, they can log in and talk us through fixing it. And so those are the things. Now, there is an annual cost.
$4,200 annual.
Yep.
Well, if you were working in the office this last week, you would say it's well worth that. Working for free.
Well, for all the problems that we have had recently, I think it would be worth it.
Stuff don't get read right.
I agree,
Yeah.
I agree, but there's been a lot
It
of
don't take long to,
issues.
for that amount of money to not be billed out or.
And from the sounds of it, with Janon, the customer service is a big calling and getting something resolved in a timely manner and being able, again, for them to remote in and fix it right there on the spot rather than wait for calls back or, like she said, have somebody come over.
On both ends, people got frustrated.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work. You just kinda wanna throw up your hands and say, not gonna do anything. Well, we can't afford to do that, but,
Dave says he's been talking to about, it's not like we have to switch out, some meters are getting old, the batteries are dying, but they can get
so
stuff.
at some point in time, you're gonna replace meters, but, yeah, I mean, this will let us know if a meter's not
You
reading.
know, it might not be the meter, it might just be the head, but
Right.
he as of now, he can still get
Yep.
stuff to continue
So it,
updating or what's going back.
it's gonna help us with quite a few things. I know it would have paid for itself last week. For sure.
So we just need a motion to approve the
Yep.
resolution.
Well, I move to approve resolution 27-2026, for the purchase and implementation of the iCharm, data reading software system.
Second? Cody? All in favor? Oops.
It's a resolution.
Sorry.
You knew right away, didn't you?
I did, I figured it out right away. Okay. Harrison? Aye. Stover?
Aye.
Klein? Aye. DeWall?
Aye.
Van Dam?
Aye.
Thank you, guys. Motion carried, or whatever that is. Action regarding utility bill arrears.
Can I just say, a little offshoot here, I just want to thank you, Janan, for your expertise, your input, your guidance, because just witnessing everything last week, everybody should come in here and volunteer maybe an hour, I'm not sure.
I did.
But you did, Cody, oh my gosh, you did, actually, absolutely. And it is just unbelievable, the amount of knowledge and time and patience that it takes to get this done. And so I just want to thank you for all of that. And being patient with people like me who are just trying to help. Okay.
Okay, so this is a printout of your arrears. At period 1 is what we just billed July 1, so you can see that that would be high because people haven't had a chance to pay. Period 2, at $23,206, people still owe from what we billed June 1. And period 3 is what we billed May 1. And then period 4 is however old it is. So we need to do something about the way we collect money. Now, I know there's special rules for electric, and I meant to get them called today to find out exactly what we can do. Water, sewer, we can shut that off the day after the 20th, I mean, whatever the ordinance says, that there are no laws regarding shutting off water and sewer. That's just a council decision. The electric, that's guided by the Iowa Utilities Board, which is just a pain in the tush. Cause they say, the last I knew, I don't know if this is current, the last I knew, they said if somebody calls in and wants to make a payment arrangement, you have to make a payment arrangement. They can break that payment arrangement 10 times and you have to leave them on. So I need to find out when we can shut them off. We have some people that owe $2,000 to $3,000. There's no, I mean, I understand in the winter we can't shut electric off. From, I think it's November 1st to
April 1st. Is it April 1st?
I think so, March 31st or April 1st in there. you can't shut off the electricity. But after that, I think they're fair game in the city. I mean, look at this, you guys, now including what we billed July 1, people owe us almost $595,000. That's an awful lot of money.
Is any of this bills that were incorrect?
No, I think, to the best of my
All of
knowledge,
that
we
has
have
been-
those all taken care of.
Those numbers have been.
Yep. So this is just what people owe
Today.
today. And Derek closed out, I don't know, 1 or 1:30, so it's as current as that.
Does our ordinance have anything, our city ordinance about? Do we
I'm
need to
shut
look-
off.
Do we need to look into other cities, what their ordinance is?
So I preliminary did that on the next agenda item. I think just for like discussion purposes, knowing how much we had for arrears and deciding how we wanted to approach the arrears immediately, and then looking at putting all of these resources that Janan and I have discussed and mentioned tonight in that Iowa code and suggestions in IAMU and other people surrounding us. I've already briefly collected some of that and put it into a policy for how we wanted to approach, one, combating something like this to not happen again, and two, if it does, how we're gonna approach resolving it, and then three, for people who have significant hardships and working with individuals there. I think that was the three main topics.
You know, and what do you decide is a hardship? And I'm not trying to be smart there, because what's a hardship to me might not be to you. And so I don't wanna be responsible, and I don't think you want any employee to be responsible to say what is a hardship. And so you just about have to treat everybody the same, get it paid.
We do accept
You know, 'cause
credit
you're
cards now.
you're talking about raising rates. And yes, you're gonna have to, but maybe if all of this money had been paid, you wouldn't have to raise them as much. But we have to do something. And I know you probably need to bring the ordinances up to date to allow for that, but, when I was city clerk, we had a policy that we billed the first of the month to the last, and penalties would be the 20th. When that next bill went out, if you weren't paid, we shut you off. Now, I had 3 or 4 moms that were on welfare, and so they would call and say, hey, my check doesn't come until the 3rd or whatever. No problem. And I said, that's fine, I'll do that, but you pick the date you're gonna pay, and if you're not paid by that time, we're shutting you off, there's no further notice. That's it. So the council, when I took over being city clerk, didn't realize that most of the people were always 1 month behind, because that previous clerk wouldn't put a penalty on anybody. And now, the state also allows that you can have whatever amount of money you want as a penalty on water, sewer, and garbage. If you want it to be 100%, you could, a little. Might not go over real well, but you can do that. Most cities put 10%. Now, the utilities board covers what you can do as a penalty for electric. Not positive about this, but I think it's 1.5%. So,
This may be, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase it, to be respectful. So my comment is very respectful to renters, okay? So I'm curious, and again, the bottom line is the bottom line. It doesn't matter who you are, but I'm curious how much of this arrears is renting?
oh, an awful lot of it.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. And then how does that fall back then on the
One of the
landlord?
things some other
Maybe
cities have
nothing,
done is say that, okay, the landlord's not responsible, just consider most of them are tenants, not responsible, but we will not make any connection when there's an unpaid bill on that property, then they can decide what they wanna do. They're either not gonna rent it, or they're gonna pay the bill.
Well, and like we talked though, I think we've had this discussion briefly before, and Laura was gonna talk to the IAMU about drafting up a policy for rental agreements, and there is a way, one, if you're a property holder, if we collect the right information when setting up your account, it can hold, like, we can give this to the county, and they can hold that
They can
bill
put a lien against
towards
it.
your property taxes. If you're not a property holder, then you can't like renew your license or whatever. So there are ways. I think we're gonna, to some extent, discourage individuals to buy property and make rental properties for a large chunk of our population that utilizes them. If we say that this is gonna stick to the house and we're gonna have tenants potentially rack up bills and then just skip town, the person that racked up the bills should be held responsible to the best of our ability, and we have the ability to do that. So, I mean, that's, and again, the policy kind of is a very rough draft about how we want to approach that, but there's ways to make sure that these bills stick with the people that are responsible for them. I'll also add that living in multiple different cities before, there should be no service to a property without an account at that property. I've moved into a lot of different properties. If I didn't call a week or 2 weeks ahead of time and make sure that service was gonna be there that day that I got there was no water until I called to set up that. There's some properties right now where we don't have accounts
Oh, exactly.
at those properties that are getting free service,
Right.
that we're not billing for.
Right, and some of those people don't even realize it, like, you know, it's just like, they don't realize that they don't have an account for that particular property, for example. Some do, some don't. I know, I'm kind of torn, and I don't wanna take up time as far as discussing it, but, I don't know. I also think as the landlord, that's your responsibility.
Ryan?
As well, but that's just me.
Two common things. Last time I looked at, I think it's 565 or 562. You can consider your tenant in default unless your agreement says otherwise for not paying utilities. Okay, but I think if you're going to go a step further and have it attached, which I would say argue that most of the cities that I've done evictions and stuff like that in, they do that. It should be a city procedure that the landlord receives notice when the tenant receives notice.
And
Because then if they choose not to pay, it's because of their own fault, not checking the mail, not being proactive, not doing any of those things. The problem that you're gonna have is if the landlord doesn't get notice and the city's not doing what they're supposed to do, billing this and after these folks, and then you go 9 months down the road and there's a $3,000 water bill, the landlord's gonna say, well, I would have stopped this and I could have stopped this if I had known about it. But I don't think landlords, I think there's a disconnect when they set up the utility account that the landlord is not gonna get that notice.
And our system will notify the landlord if they want just to know what the bill is, if they just want notice for a delinquent notice. The system is capable of doing that. And usually they just want a delinquent notice. But yeah, the system is capable of doing that.
But when you say somebody racking up a bill, if we're gonna shut it off after it's unpaid, they're not gonna rack up another month's bill. They can't.
But that's not what we're doing now.
No, but I'm just saying, if that's what you decide to do,
I think,
so
but
they can't
yes,
rack up
there's,
a 9 month bill because
you didn't have 9 months.
they
Right.
can't have 9 months if they didn't pay the first month.
I mean, there were, I don't know how many people came in today that were in arrears, most of them just for the bill that went out June 1st, and they said, no problem, we have until the 20th of July before you're gonna shut us off.
And that's using the city's money.
And to the best of my knowledge, we've not gone out and shut anybody off for a long time. Now, that's what I think. I haven't asked, but I don't believe we have.
Well, I found some flyers in there that said something about, that looked like it was a yellow piece of paper that people would deliver to to the door, but I don't, nobody even knew about those flyers, so I'm sure it's been a long time since that happened as well.
And we're better off to mail them.
Right, right.
Well, the mail isn't that good anymore.
Well, no, but we've done what we can do.
Right, we've done our part.
A lot of
Because we don't
postage.
want to take the time
Start
for our
mail out.
employees to go out and put a tag on the door.
Right, exactly, yeah.
I mean, you've just got too many delinquent customers for any of the employees to go out and put a tag on the door that we're gonna shut you off.
Right. So I'm hearing, this is a big issue. This has a lot of parts, moving parts to really talk through. And so, but very, very critical for our budget, for our town, for our residents, you know. So I'm going to recommend we table this together, or to put it, I really just want it on the next agenda to have more further steps versus making a decision tonight.
So I think, and I think this is why I split it the way I did, is that what do you wanna do about this money we're owed is the line we're on now.
Yes,
Deciding how we wanna approach this topic as a whole is the next agenda item, and I don't think that's gonna be resolved tonight by any way, shape, or form. The line we're on now is this sheet that Janan gave you, how do you want her to collect that money?
What's
Well,
the statute say?
What?
What's the statute say? That's what you can do.
Are you talking about the Iowa state, or the state law statute, or are you talking about
The city
code?
ordinance, the city ordinance.
That's pretty vague.
Does that mean, do we need to get our code updated so we have some ground to stand?
Or, yeah, we need to be getting.
Oh, yeah.
Does that mean we need to find, we need to find a good code to copy to start with?
And I think the ordinance is gonna stay very vague. It's gonna be, or from what I've seen with the other cities, is there's a policy adopted by resolution on how you approach the vague ordinance, so that you can manipulate the policy a little bit easier when things change. Yeah.
If you come across a problem, you can change it.
Yeah.
Let me know behind policy.
That's the next line. It's a very rough draft. I spent hours this weekend typing 19 pages worth of things, so.
Yeah, and I knew you wouldn't necessarily handle it all tonight,
Sure.
but you had to know how far
Yes.
down we are.
Yes.
We're gonna be talking with, Greg and Craig about improvements to the electric. You gotta get these
Bills
bills
paid.
yeah.
Okay, so utility bill arrears, are we gonna do anything with that tonight with the first one? And then we'll move to the second one. Are we gonna do anything with the second line, collections, customer service policies? Are we going to make that old business for July 20th?
Here's my reservation. I sent it out so that we could all look at it this weekend, so that we could decide what changes or ideas needed to be made. I don't think that discussion with 6 to 7 voices is going to be efficient enough to have at a meeting. So my suggestion for approaching this policy would be essentially establishing a committee of 1 to 2 of us, with Janan, with you, with the new administrator, whatever that timeline looks like, to get a document more finalized as to how we wanna approach it, then be able to present it in a timely manner and be able to vote on it and see whatever needs to be changed. But, I mean, this is gonna be a very large, comprehensive document. There's gonna be lots of different thoughts and ideas and voices and resources we need to look at. And so to be able to have that here would be a huge time drain, but I think the responsibility should be on all of us to have read this document and be able to voice our ideas and how we want to approach those topics to whoever wants to get on this, so that those people can make it more hardcore or more concrete going forward. I would hate for two people to put in a ton of work, get an agreement, sign on it, bring it here, and for other people to say, that's not what we wanna do at all. So that's why I was very gray, very much a starting board. We nail it down to what we wanted to say so we can.
I've been unable to open my email, so if you email me something, I can't see it. I apologize for that, but.
Probably my recommendation would be, I mean, if
Okay,
you
so a committee.
want me to do it, stay on it. If somebody wants to join me, if two other people want to take it, I'm happy to send a Word document your way. I don't care.
Don't send anything my way.
You want it?
But I'd be on it.
Alright.
There's a motion to form a committee.
Motion to form a committee, Cody. Second,
I second it.
Kim.
Nicole and.
Yeah, let's name Nicole and Kim. Is that what we're doing?
Shall.
Strong desire to be on it? I don't wanna take somebody's place.
Anyone has a strong desire, go ahead.
Right? Or something. You don't even.
You got questions, always ask me.
Absolutely.
I would like to be notified when you're gonna meet. I would like to, when any committees are gonna meet, so that I have the opportunity to come to any committee meetings.
I would love if everyone could at least read over it in the next week and let us know. Next week we can start to kind of nail her down a little bit more.
This is what we're reading.
So, just a quick thing, the code doesn't really give a terrible amount of leeway.
Leeway?
The city one?
I mean, if it's 9205, there's a lot of shalls in there that are directing the clerk. It sounds like this should have been done for a very long time. It says, the clerk shall notify each delinquent customer that service will be discontinued if payment of the combined service account, including late payment charges, is not received by the date specified in the notice of delinquency. And this is such notice shall be sent by ordinary mail to the customer whose name the delinquent charges were incurred, and shall inform the customer of the nature of the delinquency and for the customer an opportunity for the hearing. Goes on to state that you have to give notice to landlords, it affords them an opportunity for a hearing, it assesses fees, and it also provides for a lien for non-payment.
So and the water ordinance has that, and I think all the other separate services do as well. The problem is that, well, again, maybe it's a copy I have, but it's not updated to reflect the deadlines that were put in there. And, the money, or the information we're collecting for new accounts, we can't honor the lien, whatever one that is. The lien assessed to the property. The 92.06.
And your timeline, your time frame is what? I mean, you're saying it doesn't have a time frame? Is that what you said? Sorry, I didn't catch that.
No. The information we're collecting now for new accounts isn't sufficient to be able to hold any delinquent bills towards a lien, towards the property.
We don't collect a copy of their driver's license and or social security card so that we can, if they're a renter, that's how we would get our money back eventually, because we put it to the income offset program.
Okay.
If it's a property owner, then we can put a lien against their property.
Well, yeah, didn't that say that in there, right?
Yeah, you can put a lien against the property.
Right.
But we don't have the information in the system.
But we can't because we're not getting the
We've
information.
just,
Well, the lien we can put against, because we can go on Beacon and get their parcel and all of that.
Okay, so you can put a lien to the property, but you can't attach it to the renter per se.
Not to the renter.
It would be towards the land.
But this would be, you own your house.
Yes.
You haven't paid your bill for 6 months, I'm gonna put a lien against your
Right.
property. And, yeah,
That goes to the treasurer puts it on your taxes, and then when you pay your taxes, your next tax bill is on there.
mhm.
but you can't hold, in this situation, when we start an account that's a rental property, you cannot hold the tenant. You're limited in how you can get the money from the tenant rather than the person that owns the property.
Yeah, for the renting we are, but if we get copies of their driver's license and their social security card, then we can put it against this income offset. When it goes there, they cannot renew their driver's license without it being paid, they can't get a refund on their income tax, they can't get any, tuition money if they've got a kid going to college, they can't get anything if we've sent it to the income offset.
It's basically a lien on them, that's what it is.
Yeah, sure. It's
Now,
government.
you know, and it's up to you guys, these renters that are behind, do we say to them, you've gotta come in and give me a copy of your driver's license and your social security card now?
When did that stop, though, was my only question.
There's a
Because, I
lot
mean,
of-
I used to be able to go into the book if I was emergency, typically looking for someone. That was always, there was a book that I could, the last, and I could go back through and I could just pull it and it had all the information. So I'm just surprised that stopped.
See ya. Grover is leaving the meeting.
Have you seen that book? I haven't seen, you know, it's just, Ed and I are kind of, you know, kind of organizing and looking at some things. We haven't come across that book. Not to say it's not here somewhere. Is that the book? Where'd you get that?
It's right there in the open file, it's just
We
right there.
haven't gotten to that part.
But you have to know what you're looking for.
No, I get it, and the cop really probably shouldn't have figured that out, but no, so this is like I said, so.
Where was this at?
Just right around the corner, you know,
Oh,
where
the
the lifty,
corner.
well, the
Yeah.
lifty, where the
And if
lifty.
that's got- So does that have copies of driver's license? So that should be locked up.
Well, I know.
Yeah, that should be.
He did unlock it.
It was under the lifting.
Sorry, I just like.
Well, and actually, this says, 26.
Well,
Somebody's.
you know, it might happen with some, but I know for sure it hasn't
So-
happened
With everyone.
because Derek took a call today and he just,
Again, I think it's
Got it. Okay.
about creating the general discussion over multiple topics is creating standard operating
Yes.
procedures so that when there's turnover like there is, we have the code, we have the operating procedure that we can is readily available. Everyone knows what the standard is, those account sheets exist to document everybody's move, everyone knows what they're supposed to fill out.
Instructions, it's basic instructions. Okay, I have customer come in, it's a renter, this is what I need to get from them.
we also, at some point in time, not this week, but get a list of our landlords and all the rental property they own. Well, yeah,
I have a pretty good start.
Oh, I was gonna say, it's not as bad as you think.
Yeah, it's not that, it's actually not as bad as you think at all.
And to do that, and that's down the road a ways, but.
Get that on a list somewhere.
And in order to send delinquent notices to those property owners, I've gotta know who they are and what properties they own. So some of them I can kinda get, but some of them, I think the people have just come in and said, turn the water on here and the electricity, and we've done it and there's no record. And that's not something that's just happened in the last few months. I think that's happened for quite a while.
I also think it's easier to just be able to give something out to both parties that those people were notified of what their responsibilities are, because there's a lot of landlords that don't know that they're supposed to tell the city when somebody moves out, when somebody moves in, what the, you know, the follow-up way to contact their tenants are, like, all of that stuff exists, but that information isn't being disseminated to the appropriate people.
Okay.
So Cody, did we vote on that? Cody made a motion, Kim seconded to make the committee.
Yep, that's what I've got written down, and we're just doing a committee. Are we all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are you, aye? Okay, I missed it.
We must set it same time.
possible action regarding third-party vendor for medical reimbursement.
Janon called me last week. Here's a brochure. It didn't get in with the packet, but that is a company that I work with that does third-party administration. It's very important that we probably implement that if we are a municipality doing a deductible buy-down program. So I think that goes along a little bit with the next item, the health insurance renewal. The third-party administrator will help establish, they'll do all the administrative tasks of the buy-down. They will keep track of it. They will do the reporting and the compliance to the IRS, to ERISA. They will do the privacy for HIPAA so that employees aren't having to bring their health information into the city to be seen by anyone else. It goes to just a separate place. They can upload it into a system, or they can send it in, or they can bring it to the health insurance agent to get it to the third-party administrator. Something to note is I'm not the health insurance agent, so I would need access to the health insurance in order to set up the third party.
Who does our health insurance?
I'm unsure who it is. I don't believe it's anyone local. If your health insurance renews in September, you should have already received some sort of contact from
Just got it.
in the mail or from the agent.
In the mail.
In the mail. So I assume it's with Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
So Walmart mails out a copy in June for a September renewal, and the agent should then have access to it in June. I have a form if you want to authorize me to become the agent and get access to that information, and then I can coordinate with Walmart for the renewal, review the health plans, and get the third party set up. The company that I provided you the brochure with, we have just switched a municipality locally too, and we've been working with them on getting everything. They've been great to work with. And we can coordinate like a Zoom call if we want more information, or however you want to go about it. I just can't do that unless I have access to the health plan.
So how do we set up a separate checking account with X amount?
They have lots of options on how you can do it. You can set up a separate checking account. You can set up, they would go through that with you and answer all those questions. And they've been really great about giving options. And then they give options of how your employees are going to receive that money, whether they're going to get it direct deposited into their account, or they're going to get a debit card, how, or give them choices as to how they want to receive that deductible buyback back. And then I would need access to, like, I'm assuming if there's a handbook that shows how the deductible buyback works.
There's an employee handbook, but I don't know what it's got in
I
it.
think it was updated prior to the insurance change was just last year, that the deductible was gonna be covered by the city.
So that's new within the last year. And would that be would September be the first time that that's done? And do we know, like, if everybody's current on receiving that information?
Is everybody current?
Like if all the employees have been able to submit those and they've received their reimbursements?
Yeah.
Or would we have to work with Walmart to get a collection of explanation of benefits and EOBs to
Everybody who is asking for reimbursement
has received theirs?
has brought me the bills.
Okay.
So I could see it. My thing is, I don't, about how to get it paid without becoming public information. That's why I really think we need the third party. And,
I haven't loved that there's been differing ways that bills have been coming here and provided to us, and some are more confidential than others, and anything that is in our packets is public record. So I feel that this is a very
I think it's really
important
important.
situation.
For sure.
And
The third-party administrator is awesome.
Yeah.
No, this is an extremely important liability issue for the city that needs to
the
be.
health insurance when you did the deductible buy down, they should have implemented that when you started that.
Yes,
Yeah. I don't know.
cause I think it's absolutely crazy that the city writes a check. That's,
I don't think we should be doing that.
no, that's bonkers.
Oh, and it becomes open fodder for gossip.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I mean,
No big deal for me, I don't know anybody in town.
So when you say become our agent, do we have an agent?
I honestly don't know. I've had different people that work for the city come in and ask me questions on their plan. I haven't been able to give them very much
Did
help.
that just come from Wellmark, or does it have an agent's name on it? I don't think it does, I'll look at it, but I don't think.
So it could
does.
just be direct from a broker, because there's a couple brokers in Iowa. I called my broker because I have to go through a broker to then access Wellmark, and my broker did not know who the agent was. So there's really two big brokers in Iowa.
And we can make you our agent.
I
if
just need
we
a
so choose.
signature, and I can get access to it fairly quickly. They have to send this document to whoever is the other agent. Maybe then they would contact you. If they don't, like within 15 days, then it gets deferred to me. If I can get that packet from Wellmark, I can start working on it right away with my broker.
So one of the things I wanted to know was, is everybody happy with Walmart? Do you wanna stay with them? And the notice we got, I don't remember now if it says what the premium is gonna go up, and I'll find that and.
Yeah, so if I could have a copy of that packet, we can look through all the plans, because Wellmark does offer a large assortment of plans, so we could look at moving to a different plan within Wellmark. We can always explore other companies if you want. Wellmark is just really very popular in
Well,
Iowa.
in almost every place accepts.
99% of the services in Iowa are
And that's
accepted.
something you really have to consider to make sure that your local hospital and then your regional hospitals are all,
Correct.
will all accept.
Correct, so I mean, if you're seeing a huge rate increase, it may be where we need to look at moving to a different plan and revisiting our deductible buyback program and like running the numbers to see what makes most sense.
So just so everybody knows, when I got that and I got a couple other bills, we have insurance through Wellmark, we have insurance through Aflac for vision and dental, and we have Globe Life for some policies. Not everybody was insured on what they thought they were. Some things hadn't gone in. So I've kind of developed a form, and I'd like to meet with each employee and say, okay, did you want your spouse on here, and who are your children, and do you think they're
And
covered?
I would be happy to do that with you.
I was gonna say, if we have a local, I don't care who it is.
Yeah, we
if
set up
have
a day, or
local-
we set up 2 days, or an afternoon, and we go and meet with each person, and we go through all your benefits.
If you have someone that's local, you get that local service, you get the service that you need to get this done.
And if an employee has a invoice from the hospital and it needs to be submitted and they don't know how to submit it, they can drop it off, we can get it to where it needs to be, we can upload it into the system. Get them the confirmation or the direction that they need of who they need to talk to if they need to talk to anybody else about more information.
And I think all of that's great. My thing is, we've got people that think they're insured and they're not.
Right.
We have people that are insured that are no longer here. We have some policies that I believe, now this I have to verify, that are supposed to be deducted from their paychecks. It's not deducted from anybody's. I found an employee the other day that was paying dental insurance. Definitely should not because of some other things. So I wrote her a refund check for what we've taken out of her paychecks. And she's not listed on the policy, so it's not that we paid. Somebody just set it up that it's coming out of her paycheck, and I got that fixed. But there's just so much with this insurance that isn't the way it should be.
So can I make a motion to approve Wetback Insurance as the third-party vendor?
So, no,
No, that's not how
I
it should
need,
go.
I need a
But you
motion
need to-
for, and it needs to, I need to have, a group administrator assigned, and they recommended that I probably have, for the time being, Christy assigned as the group administrator. So I need a motion, to change the Wellmark agent to me, and we can look at other plans in the future if we, other companies or services, but to me, and that Christy signed the, group administrator and then change of agent to Stephanie Webbing.
Okay. Ditto. So, I make a motion, help me through this, Deb. I
Yep.
make a motion to change from Wellmark.
No, just to sign my Wellmark forms,
To give Steph access to
Give
our
Steph-
insurance.
the health insurance.
Okay. I make a motion to give Steph permission, to get access to,
And, yes, and then I can work with Janan to set up the appointment with the third-party administrator to coordinate offices.
okay.
Second.
So that means we are setting up.
So, sir.
We're not setting this company up yet.
Okay.
No.
We're merely giving
Okay,
her
well-
access to be able to get us everything we can do to have.
I will start the process with the third party right away. We'll get like an implementation phone call set up, so I don't know, I think maybe my wait period is 15 days with Walmart, but if she has the packet, we can get started right away.
I just need.
We're gonna do it all
The
together.
likelihood of somebody coming back to saying they're our agent.
I would think they would call you, but I don't.
Okay, that's what I mean. I just mean, we don't know who our agent is.
So like they're gonna probably call you, that doesn't mean they're gonna, unless you guys wanna assign them back to it.
Okay, so we can.
So you
we
can
can
still
still
assign them back.
Flexible.
Okay, we can.
Yeah, there's a wait period here where I am not
Okay.
official, where if
But if
somebody calls and they say, oh wait, what are you guys doing?
Okay.
I've been working with you on this, you can say, okay, cancel stuff,
Okay.
we're working with this person for these reasons.
But,
And that's
fine.
but we can also just say we want you.
Correct,
Okay.
yep.
Right.
Sounds
This decision last year was made on the July 7th meeting, so if we go back and look at the packet there, that should have who our insurance
Person.
contact.
And the stuff I got from Walmart, won't that help?
I think it should, I think I can maybe decipher through that and we can get to the bottom of it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say the motion is that I can sign her paper. I'm just gonna boil it down to that.
Perfect.
And so I've got Kim and Nicole seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
I will make arrangements to find that and give it to you tomorrow.
Sounds good, thank you.
And I'll sign
I'll get
it
this signed
tonight
here.
if you're,
Yep, I
if
will.
you, well, you have to hang around a little bit.
No, that's fine, I plan on it.
I'm gonna continue, just for the public who watches this feed here, I'm just gonna continue to say thank you, Janan, for honestly realizing that this is really important,
Mhm.
and to help us move forward in that process.
Absolutely. Okay. Discussion possible action regarding resolution 28-2026, correcting the prior resolution number. I read through that.
You skipped a bullet.
I did? What did I skip?
The insurance renewal in September.
Oh, I'm sorry. Discussion and possible action regarding insurance renewal in September. Are we kind of gonna lump that in with this and see what Stephanie comes
We
up?
can, do a review once I can look at the information.
So we're gonna kind of include that with,
So a September renewal, we'll have like a August 15th deadline. We'll need to look at the plan and decide if we're gonna stay with the current plan or have a discussion on approving a different plan. So until we have a look at that.
I have not heard from any employee that they've been unhappy with the insurance. I mean, and that's your big thing. well, premium of course, but other than that, if they've been turning down claims, but I haven't heard from any employee that.
Well, it doesn't really matter because the city pays for
Well,
everything
everything
anyway. There's gonna
Yes.
be no employee
Well,
kickback because they don't have to
True,
pay any
I guess that's true, but still, they've not had trouble getting things through.
What insurance are we, you're talking health insurance?
We're talking health insurance.
And that's IMT?
No, that was the, that was the, Pokey Travel Club. Sorry.
Oh. Sounds good.
So the health insurance will be Wellmark Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay, that's what I thought, that was.
And then Aflac for the dental and vision, and then whole life. So I'll
Yes.
kind of work through all of that with Stephanie, if that's all right with everybody.
I do think it's important though, that I had a couple employees just say, before we make any significant changes, we need to have discussions with them too, because it's a lot to drop on someone like
And
that.
here I go, I know nobody likes me saying this, but does the city have, the county happens to have an all-employee meeting once a year. Does the city have an all-employee meeting that you can bring up anything?
In the last 5 years, we've had one,
I was wondering about that, how that worked.
and it was about snow removal, because Chad and I were there together. And that was the last time there was any, where every employee was at.
Well, I just think it's a good idea, because then if you have any concerns, if, as an employee, you can voice them with everybody present, because everybody may have the same problem, or nobody has the same problem. But you can get feedback as the mayor, I can get feedback from the employees as to what they want or need. And as the insurance carrier, whatever, we can say, we're going to a third-party administrator, this is your stuff. If you have any questions, explain it, and then if you have any questions, come and talk to us.
Well, then they know the procedure, like, let's say someone has a baby. How soon do you need to report that? What do we need to know? Okay, your baby probably isn't gonna want to be on the dental plan right away, but when the plan renews on your renewal, they may want to be added at age 1 or age 2 or at a certain point. So once a year, meeting with them and going through all their benefits is really helpful.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think, I'm gonna look into setting up an all-employee meeting, is that okay with everybody?
Beer and pizza.
That's cheap enough.
Well, and for instance, the county does buy breakfast, we do it in the morning and have a breakfast pizza and coffee and juice and donuts, you know?
I would guess they don't.
Okay, so where are we at?
The last one.
Oh, correcting
So 24, 2026 was dual apply basically, so we need to correct that to say 25, that's all this resolution says. Is 24 is what 24 was originally, and the second 24 becomes 25.
correct. I mean, to me, that makes all the sense. Cody's gonna motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Kim. Roll call, Harrison.
Aye.
Dual. Rendon. Klein.
Aye.
Alright. Anybody got any reports?
I'm just gonna, the pool floors have been partially addressed, I'll send out the updated pictures to everyone later, but I'm gonna bring that to the Parks Board for their meeting and figure out how we wanna go about that. And then we'll talk about that for the next meeting, or what their recommendation is to us. But I think that was pretty much it, unless the hiring committee is continuing to work through that process. Moving on to the second round here, hopefully shortly.
Right.
And I think those are the two big things we need to touch on.
Lise, you got any reports that you?
I emailed off those two that I sent you, Christine, and think, in the interest of time, I think that's all we need to talk about.
Yeah. Janan, do you have anything?
I don't think so, I think I've covered everything. Oh, I do too. Your budget workshop Wednesday night, this is what I planned, but you guys tell me if it's not what you want. Basically showing you what you submitted this year, so that you know what we've done for that, and then probably most of the rest of it will be Greg and Craig talking to us about capital improvements. And then the next one, we can do whatever you want, but is there something in this first one that you want covered that I'm not saying?
Can we, and it's not just you that needs to do this, but, I mean, the discussion was, Craig had a list because he had a list during the budget meeting. We asked the other departments to do the same thing, because I know, like, Tom had a whole list of stuff too, and we asked for him to kind of compile it so that we had a general idea of what we needed to set aside for that. So, can we just touch base with the department heads again to get everyone's project list?
Lists, except maybe the fire station, I think I saw.
Greg was gonna kind of walk us through how he used to.
Yeah, and
Yes.
at least explain what each account was kind of designated for.
And I'm not gonna hold you to this by any means, but what kind of time frame are we looking at for that for Wednesday?
4 o'clock to however long you guys talk. I mean, it could be over at 4:30 if that's what you want, it could go
Okay.
at 7. It depends on how many questions
Okay.
you end up having.
Okay.
I'm hoping we don't go past 6, but whatever it is.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I personally wouldn't mind limiting it to 2 hours. I think we need to start limiting ourselves a little
Yeah,
bit.
then,
I'd be,
We kind of, that's why we kind of split it up into two meetings.
I'd be cautious with the statement of limiting meetings,
I know,
because
I
right
know.
now there's a
I
lot
know.
of stuff being sent
I
that
know.
needs to be on here, and it's,
and
I will gladly, if anyone has any comments about the agenda and putting it together, I will gladly hand
I
that
think
over to everyone.
no, I think this is
But-
great. It's, this is stuff.
There's
that
been a
we
lot
have
of
to get
people
done.
concerned about the length of the meetings, and it is out
And
of
I've just-
my hands entirely,
I have
so.
just been hearing about it a lot myself,
well,
and
we have so much that hasn't been done for
Right,
so long.
right, and that's our bigger problem than anything.
Yeah,
That'll
Su-
work itself
Sunday night, I thought I saw the bottom of the pile, but today it got deeper.
Any other council members have any reports? Okay, we are going to go into closed session.
You need a motion.
I need a motion to adjourn,
No.
no, not adjourn this part, we're not adjourning at all yet. I need a motion to go into closed session, basically.
I'll make the motion.
Nicole, and I need a second.
I'll second.
Kim, all in favor?
Roll call
Roll call on this one?
to go into closed session.
You have to go in closed session, I think so. You're better off to have it anyway.
All right, Wes, what's your? Cody. Kim?
Aye.
And Nicole.
Aye.
All right, we're going into closed session, so. See ya. Eric, I think you have to take off too.
I know,
Are you gonna shut the recording?
Yes, I'm gonna take all that off, and then we have to get what is
There
the
is
process.
there's a recorder. Wasn't there a little
Yeah, I thought
recorder
it
over there?
was